Man, what a great night to be stroked up, man. What's up, Stro?
Don't you think so?
Oh, man, it's always a great night to get stroked up, guys. Welcome back to Strok'd, the art of mental stimulation. You know how we do it. We touch subject at depths that most people aren't willing to go. We're real raw and transparent. We don't hold back. We honest. What you hear is what you get. Get ready. It's time.
Let's get stroked up.
Let's get stroked up.
Man, you immediately want to bring me to a particular course of action.
Okay.
Evolution.
Evolution.
Well, I start thinking in terms of how does one grow? How do we evolve?
How do we evolve? Evolution is change, man. Change. And one thing about evolution is sometimes it's gradual. You know, a lot of people think when it comes to evolution, it's going to be an overnight thing. Or like, I want to change this about myself. I want to change this about situation. That it's just like that at a snap of a finger. But it's one step at a time, man.
You make me think that we shouldn't move too fast.
Man, I get told that all the time. I'm fast acting. I move too fast.
Okay. So, you know, when I think of that, you know, the process in evolution or the growth or blossoming of anything, you take a rose or anything that's plant-based.
Right.
Takes a little time.
Mm-hmm. I got a question for you. Mm-hmm. You go in the kitchen. You say you want to bake a cake, right? You love baking a cake. You think about baking cakes. You haven't never baked a cake, but you read up on it. You study it. So one day you go in that kitchen and you finally say, hey, I'm going to bake a cake. So you bake the cake. It's done. You finish it. It's kind of dry. It's not that moist. What do you do?
Me, I'm going to scratch it.
You're going to scratch it?
Yeah, because...
And what happens next?
I'm going to redo it.
There you go. You're going to edify. And then when you come to evolution, that's a big point. You got to edify sometimes. I mean, you might say you want to make a change like me. Sometimes I say, hey, I'm going to change this about myself. You know, progress is good. Everything's great. Out the blue, bam, I realize I haven't changed as much as I thought I did. I don't just give up on evolution. I don't give up on change. I edify myself. Just like that recipe with that cake, you keep on doing it over and over again until you get it right, no matter how long it takes.
You're going to make me think of a particular principle again.
Okay.
If you're not constantly looking in the mirror to check yourself, I think that's James 1:22. But if you're not constantly checking yourself in the mirror, you'll never know if you're growing or not.
A lot of people are afraid to look in that mirror.
Well, they're afraid of themselves.
They're afraid of themselves, man.
So how can you evolve?
How can you evolve? You got to take those steps, though. You just got to first accept that you're not perfect. Accept those things that are wrong. I mean, that sometimes other people see stuff in you and they complain about and they deem wrong, but you might not see it for yourself. So it's just like an addict or something like that. You try to get them off drugs, you want them to change, but that change doesn't happen until they're ready to change. And the same thing with evolution. When you're ready for yourself and you see it's time to do that, you just take active steps to do that, like a little piece at a time.
What is love if you don't evolve?
What is love if you don't evolve, man? You're going deep with that.
Well, again, you talked about checking yourself. You know, most of us are afraid of the mirror. Most of us are afraid of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Well, if we are, then we can't grow. We can't develop because we're not facing our fears.
Right. Do you think you constantly evolve, or is it's like a finish line with evolution?
No such thing. Until you have your last dying breath, you're constantly evolving if you don't understand that.
Especially if you're trying to, walk in the way of God, man. You want to try to be Christ-like or whatever. It's going to always be something you have to work on. It's going to always be something you have to fall short on. But as long as you live your life being a great person and taking those active steps day by day to try to be better, I think you're winning all in itself.
I think you are. Accept yourself. Be yourself.
Ooh, that's the first step right there. Accepting. That's what a lot of people have a hard time with, man. Accepting things that are wrong. Like, this is me. This is where I'm at right now. I can change this and I can be better.
Well, you brought up an addict for a second. If we can't acknowledge the fact that we're an addict, how can you change that?
Right.
How can you grow from that? How can you evolve from that?
Right.
Sounds like you're not showing yourself any love.
It sounds like you need to look in that mirror.
Right. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Here we come.
Mirror, mirror on that wall. But as usual, we always try to give some comfort and give people some active steps to make these changes. And tonight, like we're talking about evolution, what do you think? The first point, the starting point, we said look in the mirror. After you look in that mirror, you realize some things are wrong. What do you think the next step is to get to the evolution, the change in that particular area that you're trying to do it in?
Well, if you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you realize whatever flaws or where you want to make certain growths at, then you have to sit back for a second. You're going to have to pause for a minute. I mean, you really do have to.
Right.
Assess where you are.
Right. I think evolution is happening all the time, though. People are confused with it, whether it's good or bad. Evolution is always happening. I think it was Roman philosopher Lucretius that says change is the only constant. We sit here and thinking it's the sameness, but really all the time we're changing.
Constantly. Mm-hmm. I mean, there is no hesitation in that. You're constantly being shifted.
Right. And I mean, that's the only way to grow. So, I mean, that's the way you should have it. That's the way you should want it, man.
But the problem is most people stay stagnant. They don't realize things are shifting around them.
Right. Like every time you meet someone, let's say you went to school with somebody 20 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, you meet those people, they shouldn't see the same person that they saw in high school. Even you meet a person a week ago, I'm probably not the same person from a week ago, man. I'm constantly learning, especially being around you, being around each other. We're like a mirror, a reflection of each other. So, sometimes I see some things about myself coming from Stro, and I'm like, man, okay, I didn't know that. But I edified, I change it, and I'm willing to grow.
All right, D-Luv. So now what do we do when we see somebody that's stagnant, that's not constantly evolving or growing from where they are? Say you meet somebody 10 years from now, right? Okay. And you met them in high school and they still act exactly the same. There's no evolution in that person.
Right.
So how do you treat that scenario? First of all, obviously we know we're kind.
Mm-hmm.
But
I've been in that situation a lot. So, I'm very familiar with it. When I run back into people that, maybe I grew up with or whatever and they haven't. I mean, I try to be me. I don't change. And sometimes it's that pull to go backwards sometimes to even try to resonate with that person. Number one, you don't do that. I mean, you be you. And sometimes being around you and seeing that change in you, that can influence another.
It really can. And we got to be careful because if you took 10 people in a room and only one person was evolving, and you're stuck with the community or the atmosphere that's around you, you'll see a vortex.
Right, but do you even mention it? Do you mention, like, let's say you say that person, do you mention to them that stuff to say? Or you let it be, like we said? Like,
well, it depends on how you say your words. Colossians 3:5 say, season your words with salt. Right. Put a little flavor on it. So at the end of the day, that simply means that if you're constantly evolving, if you're kind, it's okay to be blunt with your friend.
Right.
If they're a friend.
And I always try to help. I've been in situations where I see areas that someone's not changing. I mention something like, hey, you should do this. Or, hey, you should do that or whatever. I'm not going to push you to do it, but I will mention it. I almost can't help it.
Well, I got to make it personable, right?
Okay.
So you'll tell me something in an area where you think I have not evolved in. And if I didn't see it, right?
Yeah.
I could stay stagnant in that area.
Right.
But there's evolution within me. There's constant growth. I want to continue to grow because God designed me.
Right. But like we covered before with atmosphere, I mean, even keeping the right people around you, if you in a circle of people and they're all positive and they're all changing, they're all growing, just like we said, you're around 5 broke people or 5 negative people, you're going to be the 6th negative person. Same thing goes with positivity. You're around those same group of people, your atmosphere, if it's that type of energy and those type of people, it's going to rub off on you. You can't be in that atmosphere without it happening.
Well, let's look at science for a second. What does it take to make any plant grow? It has to have water. Mm-hmm. It has to have carbon monoxide.
Yeah.
Right?
Carbon dioxide.
Thank you.
Okay,
because the other one will kill you.
Yeah, it will. I was just saying, hold on. Now we trying to kill it for or we want it to grow?
Right. But at the end of the day, man, there are certain elements that have to exist around you. That's your atmosphere, right?
Right.
So we got to put the right type of people around us, our right circle, right? If we want to continue to evolve. Now, the pace in which we evolve depends on the atmosphere we have around us.
Right. Do you think you have to have the people around you that reflect, even if you're not there, what you desire to be?
To a degree, absolutely.
Right. A lot of people don't want to do that too because, like, ego thing. They don't want to say, hey, I like things you do. I like your energy. I like that. I want to be just like you. Or, they don't want to, say that.
People are scared of that.
Or I want to pull for something that you have in you. I mean, I do that with you all the time, dude. We do it with each other. Like, right. I've grown so much since I met this guy. Y'all don't even understand, man. I don't even know. It's parts of myself that were tucked away. And, now I'm free to be me. And that came from you.
Well, look, love, I'm going to tell you right now. We're here because we allow each other the same thing. And that's one of the things that we don't do as people. You'll have a ton of people following a particular frequency that exists in this world right now. Everybody seems to be woke all of a sudden, right? But they don't understand what they're saying.
Right.
They're still holding up walls, still not allowing themselves to be vulnerable.
Right.
That's our preacher's theme, right?
Gotcha.
So let's break that down for a second. If I want to evolve as a person, I have to allow a person around me that can help with that.
Right.
Because we're not built by ourselves. I got one of my favorite analogies when it comes to trees. And In the atmosphere, it may look like trees are separated, but you have trees beneath the surface that are connected. Their roots are intertwined and they're nourished off the same thing.
Okay.
And now those trees are actually stronger than they could have ever been if they were alone.
Because of the tree next to him, man. Man,
Exactly.
I like that. Man, was that a poem? You always, I mean, Jesus Christ, you just hitting it all the time. But yeah, man, I just...
Jesus Cristo.
When it comes to evolution, do you think, and we probably covered this a little bit somewhere in another episode or something, but like getting more into that, do you think as far as people that you may not could push away as easily, you think your family can stifle your evolution?
Absolutely. You know, you and I referenced, earlier in our episodes about family, right? Mm-hmm. And Jesus came to divide households.
Okay.
Right? He said he'll give you new brothers, sisters, uncles, daddies, mothers.
So you saying write your family off?
I'm not saying that entirely. I'm just saying you have to understand that sometimes not everybody is connected to that. Not everybody is rooted as you in the same purpose.
Love from afar.
And look, I think you should love your family. Right. I think you should build them up. But
right.
if they pull you down,
that's like with anybody else.
You can't help them.
Right. They're still a human being, man.
If you're not giving yourself the right type of love. Right.
So it starts with you. But yeah, man, it's all about change. I mean, this world is changing all the time. So, we got to get with it, man. Get on it. Be the best version of yourself. Vibrate higher. I don't know, whatever you strive for, man. I mean, at the end of the day, I strive for peace. I strive for peace of mind. So that's always me. I got to learn to be a little more calm. I got to learn to breathe a little better. So
I guess, what are the steps we have to take so that we can evolve?
Acceptance, we said that. Well, first we said look in the mirror.
Right.
Then we say you accept what you see in that mirror. And then after that, you look in that mirror, you take active steps to change what you see in that mirror. And then you don't get discouraged when those changes don't come as fast as you think they should come. You got to slow down. So
don't stay stifled.
Don't stifle. Don't stay stifled. And you got to slow down a little bit, man. Slow down. Show love to yourself. Show kindness to yourself. And, man, that's the way you start.
Well, natural evolution doesn't speed up. Mm-hmm. We kind of hinted at that and talked about it a little bit. Understand the cog in which we live in. This world is sped up. It's rapid. It moves extremely fast.
Right.
And most people are afraid to take a moment to themselves because all of a sudden somebody pulling at you and you can't evolve and now you're stagnant and don't understand why.
So you think you got to slow down in the midst of this world? What's going on in this world?
The natural process is, what does it take for a plant to grow?
Right. And then plant growing, they don't do it fast. It takes time in its natural course of growing.
And then it blossoms.
Man.
Right.
So
let's look at nature for a second. You got nurture within the earth, the nutrients that exist within it. It has to be watered, and that water comes from an outside source. Right? Mm-hmm. And if you rush that water, you can't grow.
Yeah. And then if you're missing a piece, if you're missing one of those ingredients of growth, like that plant, you cannot grow. So you got to take your time, man. Just like we were talking about with success and all that and your gift or whatever. You got to take your time. It's a course of action for it, and you just got to follow it. You might get, frustrated or whatever. Like me, I'm like, man, I've been working on that. And looking at a situation presented itself, and I did the same thing I always do. And I get down on myself, and it was like, next time it comes about that same test, I'm going to pass it next time. I'm still optimistic. I'm going to pass it next time. I might be on the 50th time, but I still got faith. I'm going to pass it this time. I'm going to do something a little different. The number one key to evolution is the fact that you want to evolve. That's where it starts. You're not going to be perfect, that you want to evolve, and you never stop trying to evolve.
Step outside yourself.
Step outside of yourself, man.
I think you really have to.
Yeah.
I try to. I'm not perfect. I'm imperfect. And that's why I'm grateful for you in my life. And I'm grateful for people that actually care the same type of way.
Right.
You have to step outside of yourself. Let people in. Mm-hmm. Let the outer influence that is extremely positive or nurturing, like the rain.
Mm-hmm. Like the rain, yeah. The rain makes everything grow. It brings the dark clouds along with it, but growth even comes from that. So that's like a prime example, man. No matter how dark it gets, you can still evolve. You can still come out of that situation from darkness to light. It's still hope. You should never give up, man. You still can plant those seeds, and you can still water them, and it still grow.
Well, that's how we evolve.
That's how we evolve. Did you have something you was going to share with us?
Well, oh my goodness.
I have to ask. Every time I see that little handy dandy notebook, I already know he got something in store, man. So go on, bless us on this mic tonight, man. Give us a piece of straw.
So I wrote this in 3/8/16. I'm 2 days behind. Some may just see an ordinary tree. But when that tree was in its early stages of life, what storms would it have to bear? How deep its roots would have to be just to stand there. Depending upon the season, it may appear to be a barren or a weak. But this tree will stand for hundreds of years. Upon a closer look, there's wisdom with this tree. How deep roots. Do not be shallow. Look beyond what the eyes can see. Be there to lend a hand to someone in need, just like that tree can provide shade for you and me. That's called the oak.
The oak, man. Here we go. Let me go ahead and do it.
Oh, you're hilarious.
That's my Maya D'Angelo over there, y'all. Man, this dude right here, I don't know, man. When it comes to words, you got it, man. You're gifted. You got it. I mean, I'm your biggest fan, like you said the last time. When I'll
cheer for you.
Cheerleader, yeah.
You need me to put it on an outfit?
We cheer for each other, man. But man, wrap it up. Evolution, man. Evolution. Let's evolve. Let's grow. Let's help other people grow. Let's be open to growth. That's where it starts at. Be open to growth, and, let's get it, man. Let's start paving the way, being these higher versions of ourselves while we're here. Life is so short, man, fleeting. Man, we see kids dying every day. We see, it ain't always old people, man. So you don't know what the assignment God has for you. You don't know when that's going to end. So, you just got to work to be the best version. When you leave this earth, man, what are you leaving behind? How do you want people to remember you, man? So just take those active steps, man. It can happen. Well, it will happen.
A natural course of action.
Natural. There you go.
So when I think of that, I go, be natural, just like nature. Yeah. Let it nurture. It will run its course, and it can build you if we're fluid.
Right.
In other words, we have to connect to it and let God do what he's supposed to.
Like that tree, man. So you're saying we evolve naturally?
We can if we allow it.
So, yeah,
we stifle it.
Be free. Let it happen. Don't get in the way of yourself.
Exactly. We stifle it.
Don't get in the way of yourself, man. And, man, like we said, we've been trying to keep these things short. To wrap it on up, is anything you want to say before we get on out of here?
Hey, man, be about love.
Be about love. Be about kindness, man. And let's grow together. You guys know what just happened to you. You just got
stroked all the way up.
You just got stroked all the way up, man. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.